Hello, hope you're having a great day. I'm really excited to show off what I've gotten done in the past week or so. I'm considering a reformat of the way I do these videos, just based off of the other devlogs I see on YouTube that kind of have a more walkthrough approach of the things that people do. I think that's something I might try to start doing as I learn new concepts and implement them. In fact, I already know the first one I'd like to do is going to be interfaces. So unfortunately, I didn't have the foresight to have previous versions of the game saved before I implemented these things, so I'm just going to mock that up for a future video, probably the next one, and just walk through the process I took, right? Just be like, here's the problem I'm trying to solve, here's what I need the solution to do, and here's how I'm going to do it step by step. And I'm excited because, those videos have been extremely helpful for me, so I figured I'd put a little bit of that same effort in a couple of mine. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just play the game and show you what we've got here. So now we see our adventurer is being spawned by the game manager object, and then also all of our objects are usable. We get the prompt when we get close to the object, and then each of them also will send me something in the debug log as well when I interact with them, right? Interacted with desk, interacted with map. So this is being handled by the interface. There is a generic interacted with function or method, and I'll show that off in a minute. But I am really excited. So I have a very elegant, clean system that doesn't take too much effort to expand on to handle getting this text also from the interface and getting the objects to perform a step or steps when I interact with them. So the forge actually has real functionality that I've been tinkering with. This is another thing I've been working on. You'll see when I interact with it, it's giving me the same log that I'm interacting with the forge, but also it's telling me to come back when I have something to forge. So it's recognizing that I have no item in hand currently, and it's telling me to come back when I do. So now if I talked with the adventurer, he's telling me that he's supposed to give me something, and he does. So he's given me a object, and right now it's just a really basic prefab that it's a blank object. But I've got it. It's called sample thing, and if I talk to him again, he's going to tell me my hands are full, right? So I can only have one thing at a time, and that's going to be a key feature of the game, is multitasking while only ever holding one object in your hands. So yeah, now if I was to go over to the forge, now that I have something in my hands and use the forge, it takes it from me. So if I was to look at my player right here, and if I look at thing in hands, this variable is now missing, whereas previously I had sample thing in my hands. So now the forge has it, and it's doing its thing with that thing. And if I was to try to use the forge again, right, I see I got a second copy of this come back when I have something to forge message. So then I could go back to the adventurer, and there you go. Now you'll see he gave me another sample thing, so I can take that to the forge and repeat. So very rudimentary functionality, but it's the implementation that I'm really proud of. I did take several days to completely refactor a lot of the things I was doing in the project, well, it's mostly just a combination of trying to learn new concepts in real time. So it's like solve a problem best I can on my own, and then afterwards find ways to make it better, right? Is kind of how I'm approaching this project, and I'm aware this is not the most efficient way to do it, but, well, let me rephrase that. Maybe not the most efficient way to produce a product, but I think, in my opinion, it is the most efficient way to learn these concepts, and that's really what I want to do. First and foremost. So let me show off my interface here, and again, I'd like to make a full video on the interface, so I won't go too into detail, but here we are. Very simple. I want objects that are interactable to have two things. One, I want them to have a string, which is a prompt message, and two, I want them to have a method which executes when they're interacted with. And everything that is interactable has those things, right? So here's the forge, for example. You'll see that it is using that interface, and it's also using another one. We'll go into that later. And I have my definitions for those two things. Here's my method for interact, and also here is my getter for that prompt message. So, in this case, right, it's doing something specific to the forge, and this is what's nice, right? All the player object needs to know is that if it's talking to an interactable object, it can interact with it and it's going to do something. Doesn't know what, but it can do something. And then also it'll have a prompt message. Doesn't care what the message is, just that it has a message and I can display it. And so this is great. So with most of the objects, it's just a simple, I interact with it and it does this line of code right here and that's it, right? I interact with the object and it tells me what I just interacted with. This one actually has functionality. It's checking if the player's hands are full. And then if the hands are full, it'll tell me to come back. Or excuse me, if the hands are not full, it'll tell me to come back if I have something to forge. And then if it does have something in the player's hands, it will call the take thing method, which is down here. And this is something I would like to refactor, right? The give and take of objects is very rudimentary. It's mostly just something I did to get it to work, and I think it's quite messy. We have a lot of dependencies, which the whole point of the interfaces for the interaction was to get rid of those. So don't pay too close attention to my take thing code here. This is something I'm going to be refactoring in a future episode, but it does work for my purposes at the present at least. Another thing of note that I'm pretty happy about is I watched a few videos and read some documents about clean nesting, right? So instead of something like if the player's hands are full, do this, else do this, instead of that where I would have this code nested, I just tried to be mindful of how I could phrase it to have as few nested statements as possible. So right now, this take thing is not in an else bracket, it's just its own statement here. And that's just something I'm trying to keep in mind for cleaner code, and a habit I'm trying to build so that I don't, in the future with more complicated things, have like something nested 3, 4, 5 deep, if I can avoid it at least. And yeah, this is last thing is just going to be, this is the rudimentary implementation of my thing exchange interface. I would need to do a lot more work on this. It doesn't work the way that I want it to. Well, it works and it does what I want it to, but it doesn't do it in a way that I would like, and it's not doing it in a way that's scalable. So I'm going to work on that and look forward to a future video about implementing and setting up interfaces. And thank you for your viewing attention today, and I hope you have a great one.